Mount Miyanoura, southern Japan's highest peak at 1,936 meters. This is a 16-kilometer round trip that starts at an elevation of 1,365 meters. It's probably going to feel like a lot more than 600 meters of elevation gain and descent, though, because, as you can see, the trail is rarely flat. There are a lot of spunky stairs, a lot of roots, a lot of rocks, and just in general, a whole lot of up and down. It is only about 30 or 40 minutes, 1.5 kilometers to the hut, and it's really beyond the hut that you're going to start climbing up. Here's the hut. Down to my left is the water hole. The hut can sleep up to 40 cozy people, and you can also pitch a tent just outside. To the right of the hut is the disposable toilet booth if you brought a toilet pack to carry back, and the regular latrine if you haven't. Please don't put anything down the toilet besides toilet paper because your fellow humans get to scoop it out. Beyond the hut, cross the bridge, and you can come down around under the bridge to stick your feet in the beautifully clear Yodogo River, perfect on your way back in the summertime. And now we finally start gaining some real elevation. Map time is well over 1.5 hours to the peat marsh, Hananoego, elevation just over 1,600 meters. I really don't think it takes that long, but you should try to pace yourself and try not to sweat too much, especially if the weather is chilly. Instead, enjoy the old-growth forest, which is very pristine at this elevation, and also a beautiful tunnel of green as the trees start to get shorter. As you head up, look for glimpses of Mount Koban and the Tofu Rock on your left, before you go over the ridge and then down towards the two peat marshes. The first one coming up is Kohananoego, and you can see Mount Kodomi, Kyushu's sixth highest peak in the distance, which is visible again from the second larger peat marsh, Hananoego. This is Japan's southernmost area of high-altitude peat marshes. There's almost always a lot of water on the trail unless there's been a long drought, so be ready to get your feet wet and enjoy the taste of Yakushima's super soft water. In fact, here's a water hole coming up on my right. From Hananoego to the turnoff for Mount Kodomi, it's just over 15 minutes. The trail does receive a lot of damage from erosion and storms, I should mention, but it is under constant repair and maintenance. To the summit of Mount Kodomi and back to the turnoff should take less than an hour and a half. Mount Kodomi is an exciting day hike with exhilarating views, and it can make a nice side trip too if you have lots of time and extra energy, or if you want to try to catch an early morning Brock inspector. But don't overestimate your limits. We still have a couple hours and 300 meters to climb before summiting Mount Miyanoura. Don't go down that way. The trail is well marked, but after a good storm or blizzard, it might be harder to find the markers. And on other trails especially, it is important to pay attention and mind where you're going. You will come across several ropes too. On the main trails like this one, they are inspected rather frequently, but as you know, make sure you're comfortable with how they are secured, and make sure you feel comfortable going down as well as up, because there are going to be a couple more. Honestly, it's nothing too advanced or difficult, and if you're a boulderer, you might not even need them, but you should still be able to pull yourself up and down. One feature of granite is a tendency to erode around soft, narrow chutes, which can be less than fun if you've got a big, bulky backpack with a sleeping mat sticking out on the sides. There's Mount Kodomi again. I'm now at Nagaeshi Daira, the space between Mount Kodomi, Kyushu number 6, and Mount Nagaeshi, Kyushu number 7. If I'm lucky, I get my first views of Mount Miyanoura in the distance, over there. And if I walk out near the end of this big rock on my right, I might get a cell phone signal. There's always a better chance of a signal if you can see the ocean. Now we are finally crossing up into the central mountains. Now just beyond Nagaeshi Daira, you see that signpost? The trail actually goes up beyond that signpost, but this big rock here on my left, under here is your last good shelter. Beyond here, you'll probably get buffeted with whatever wind and rain awaits above. Now, as I head up, we're coming up to a great spot for yodeling since the echoes bounce off of Mount Kodomi. And here is another rope. I suggest you just pretend the slope is a horizontal surface that you're standing on and use the rope to pull yourself across. As you come around Mount Nagaeshi, this is a great spot to encounter deer and sometimes monkeys too. Don't stare the monkeys in the eyes or startle them. Don't let any of the animals have your food. There's no hunting at this elevation, so the animals aren't going to be too shy though. I'm getting some great views of Mount Miyanoura going in and out of the clouds, and I want to show you a clip from a dousing of snow earlier this year in March. Every year is different though, so check the trail conditions with tourism information booth. In town before you head for the mountains. You see that boardwalk down to the right? The boardwalk in the Central Mountains is super slippery, especially around this, the last waterhole on the trail. And there is the last disposable toilet booth, again, only if you've brought a pack. It's also a great place to duck out of the wind and snow if you find yourself in a bit of wintry weather before heading up the last kilometer, which is pretty grueling. So take your time, enjoy the views, and when the trail passes over Mount Kuryo, Kyushu number 3, you can take off your pack and crawl into the recess where the shrine is. And now it's the last sprint to our destination, Mt Miyanoura. If you come during the rainy days of late May, early June, you might be treated with rhododendrons, but remember that no matter how blue the sky is, you can find yourself in a sea of clouds with less than 10 meters visibility. Peeking out of the clouds is Mount Nagata, that's Kyushu number 2. There are more trails that head in that direction, but that's for another day. Now if you come over the top and around the back, the trails head off towards Mount Nagata and Jomonsugi, but instead of going down, if you head around and then back up to the rock on top, you can peek in and see the shrine to the mountain god. And that will be the end of our hike today, so thanks for listening.